you need somebody, I think, spiritual to be able to. Psychic Goddess Erika, who is no stranger to ceremony, as I know this is part of her background and culture. Hey, Erika.
Hey.
Welcome. Thank you for being here. I know you and I have been trying to do a show for a long time, but glad that we're finally able to get up and get moving and doing it. So,
Yes.
I wanted to just chat with you for a little bit and talk about, what's been going on for you and your world, your life. And then I want to break into a little bit of a discussion with what we had written up here, that psychic reality versus psychic stigma. So we'll get into that in a moment. Let's see, somebody says the sound is really echoing, so let me make sure that we've got some good sound here, because I don't want sound is echoing. Alright, y'all, let me know if it gets a little bit clearer so I can change some audio settings here. I've had to use different tools just because, yeah, nobody can hear. Okay. Alright, y'all, give me just a moment so I can fix this audio here. Figure out where the echo is coming from. Because I don't want you guys to. Voice sounds like a robot. I got the robot voice. Okay. Let's do this. Yes, okay. I hear y'all. Hang on. Let's just fix that real quick. Let me just switch over to microphones. Actually, I kind of want to plug in my big microphone here. See if we can do that. Connection is scratchy. Yes, mates, thank you. I'm working on it. Give me a moment. Alright, I should be able to get this going. I don't know if I can switch over. This is why I need a tech person. Alright, y'all, how about now? Is that a little bit better? Let me know in the chat if that's...
For me, it sounds a little scratchy.
For you?
I mean, it sounds like a robot still.
You got the robot still?
Yeah.
I don't understand what
Yeah.
the difference is here. Alright, Erika, for you, how's that sound?
For me, it sounds
Okay.
good. I don't know about out there.
Alright, everybody. So I switched mics here. Good now. Yay. Thank you all.
Yay.
Thank you. Now that we've gotten that taken care of, let's get back to business here. First of all, thank you all, one, for showing up, and two, just for keeping clear communication with what's going on with the sound and everything. That I appreciate a lot. I really would like to have somebody set up all these shows for me, because it gets a little bit hectic trying to get all my guests situated, get myself situated, run everything up. So if anybody's out there that's looking for some kind of a tech job, social media job, shoot me an email, because I would be all about that. Need all the help I can get. Right? You need a team behind you if you're going to be doing things that reach out to a lot of people. You got to have a solid team. And you know what? It doesn't even matter if you're doing stuff on live or YouTube or whatever. You need a good, solid team of people. And I know a lot of spiritualists, they talk about the spirit team, right? Like what would you, Erika, what would you consider to be like a spirit team? What would those entities or beings like make up that's kind of in your ancestry maybe, or something, your guides? I don't know what it would really be.
I consider it all of them. Like when I give gratitude for something, I always say thank you to my guides, my angels, my guardians, my ancestors, my loved ones on the other side, to source, universe, creator. It's all of that's my team for me.
That's a lot. I mean, I think I always hear people talk about how you're connected to your lineage or your ancestry. Even soul spirits, entities, beings that you've never met in person, and they could have, incarnated many, many, many years ago, but you still have some kind of connection with them. I personally have
Yeah.
never. Okay, so I'm a person that works on conviction. My beliefs are based on the things that I have directly experienced. So, for example, I have never seen a ghost. Now, I've connected with people that have passed on, that have transitioned, from physical into afterlife, have had clear communication with entities and spirits, but I've never seen a ghost. So it's like I'm 50-50. I believe in them, but I don't believe in them. I'm right in the middle. So for me, I've never had a moment of communicating with an ancestor, that might be many years down the lineage here. And I've never experienced that. So for me, it's like when if I get specific types of information, like if they're like downloads or if they're, claircognizance and intuitive knowing, I can feel that
Mhm.
energy, right, of a team kind of behind me. But I've never seen anyone in specific, and it's weird because I am clairvoyant. I'm a very visual
Yeah.
seer. What, if you were to tell our listeners, what would that kind of feel like, or how could you recognize if your team or your ancestry is trying to, either communicate with you or guide you in some way? What would you look for?
So an ancestor specifically that I maybe never met.
Yeah, like part of that spirit team.
Hmm. For me, they come in many forms. For example, I might hear music or drumming, or I might, for example, they work through animals and stuff as well, like a bee that was just in my apartment that was a symbol, or there was maybe back in the beginning of March before all the quarantines hit, there were three peacocks on my roof. And yeah, and so that for me, they come through a lot as animals or music or just an inner urge to go and participate in doing some sort of research for ancestry. But because I've never met them, I guess I can't really put a face on them, but it's more just like sending me symbols and synchronicities that are connected to my culture and or the many of cultures that I have in different forms. So that's kind of how they talk to me. I'm sure it's different for everybody though.
I would imagine, everybody has a different connection, just as you do a different connection with your family that's alive now. Everybody has a different relationship, and especially with each
Yeah.
person, it just depends. You could be closer with one person than another, and that looks different for somebody else. So, yeah, I think that's probably extremely valid that it's going to be different for everybody. But I liked what you said, and there seems to be something kind of pulling my interest here when you said animals. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you say that, my gut instinct is like, oh yes, absolutely. Like animals are that they're operating basically on the subconscious mind like all the time, right? They're always in that
Mm-hmm.
connected state. They're not like active conscious beings like we are. And so because of that, I think that they do go off of vibrations and energy a lot more than we
Yeah.
do. So I would imagine that it does seem a little um, instinctive for these animals to just get pulled because of some vibration or some other entity influence. I get animals all the time that come to me, that interact around me. I mean, it's it's let's see. What just happened? Oh,
Yeah,
yesterday.
they're a bit it,
Go ahead.
oh go ahead. I was gonna say, yeah, they're a bit more pure. Like, even look, so we pull cards of the week to focus on and we leave it out on our altar. And this one is I honor animals with reverence.
Oh,
And then animals have just been speaking to me all week. Bees in the apartment, things like that. Um, and also too, I'll just give you an example how just psychic animals are. My dog, she can't see, but if I'm going through something and not feeling good, she senses it and always finds her way to me to comfort me. Yet she doesn't even see. She can't see my reaction or what I'm doing, but she
No.
feels it. Yeah,
Oh,
so definitely.
sweet thing. That's so sweet. There's something to that. I absolutely think so. I just found there was a gecko, a little lizard. Um, it was right on the wall of where my bed is, and like where my head rests against, towards that wall, like that headboard there. And I have like a tapestry, and there's a lizard like right on the wall, right up there. And so I was looking it up, like the gecko spirit medicine, and what gecko teaches, and it's all about like dreams and the unconscious. And I'm like, oh, perfect! It's like right at the foot or at the head of my bed. Like, how perfect is that? there's
Yep.
there's something I don't. It's just so magical with animals that it just makes me feel. Um, like they're more connected sometimes than I think a lot of the people I see walking around the world. I think that they're even more connected to
Because
those.
we're overthinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That could not have been said any more perfect. I think we think that the mind is king. We all listen to the mind, but there's something way more intelligent in here, um, than
It's
just the
our
brain.
heart.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking up something. I don't remember where. Like I'd go on random research rabbit holes sometimes, and they're just talking about how our intuition. There's a brain in our gut. Yes, that's why we follow our gut. But there's also one in our heart, and sometimes our heart will know something before it translates to our brain, before it even reaches our brain. So that's why they say follow your heart. And I
Yes.
think animals, that's what they do. Instinct, that gut and the heart, they just go with that.
Naturally.
Um, yeah, naturally. Oh, and then the other thing too, just kind of rewinding to the ancestor question, I would also say they communicate with numbers a lot with me.
Oh, okay.
Um, Repetitive numbers, number sequences, because numbers cannot be mistranslated because I don't know what language they spoke. So they're going to speak to me in forms that I can understand. So a lot of times they'll communicate through numbers, and numbers carry vibrations, and you can do whole readings off numbers too.
That's true. Numbers, it's like a universal language. That it doesn't matter, what language you speak on the earth. Math or numbers, are universally accepted. They're all the same. We all use it the same way, and I think that's what a lot of people theorize with. Aliens or extraterrestrials, like they would communicate with numbers. Um, Obviously, we're not sure yet, or the information hasn't been released yet, to the public from whatever sources they have. But I have a feeling that we're going to find out
Yeah.
soon enough. I definitely have a
Oh
feeling.
yes, you just wait.
Something is coming. I was telling people, um, I kept feeling this back in like March, when I was doing other shows, and people were wondering, what was going to happen, where we were going with this whole crazy pandemic and everything. And I allowed myself to tap into as much of the energy I could. And what I kept getting was August was going to be very shocking. August was going to be a very shocking month. And then November was going to be a disaster. Um, the November one, I can see exactly why November could be a total disaster. Um,
Election.
exactly. The election is coming. I don't talk politics on these shows, but I do recognize the effect that it has, on people's consciousness and the world and the global consciousness. And that's what I would personally speak to. I don't favor one side or the other out here on public because it's just not my business, pun intended. That's not the business that I'm in. But I just feel like that is still going to be intense. This month, August, I still am not sure what exactly this whole shocking thing is going to be. There's a part of me that feels like it has something to do with these trials that are coming up, in the public eye
Yeah.
now with this whole, um, oh gosh, I barely even want to speak it to give it energy, but, um, all those little cults and, pedophile rings that have been discovered,
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's what
Um,
I'm worried about, is going to be the shocking news.
and I think I spoke with you about that a while ago, how I was getting these different downloads of different things. So if you want to look at it in terms of numbers, so this year, 2020, which adds up to 4, which is also about laying down the foundations. We're putting down the groundwork for change. 2021 is not going to be a piece of cake either, just being honest, because add it all up, that becomes 5. 5 is the number of change, it's the number of yes, obstacles that come with change, because sometimes change is uncomfortable. A lot of people don't want to change, they don't want to do the work or make the effort. So I would say a lot of the results of what we're building up to right now in 2020, we're not going to see most likely until about 2022, um, which is
Yep.
222, because the zero just amplifies that frequency. And also it adds up to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 is the number of harmony, also is related to the Lover's Tarot card and the Major Arcana. So that's when love returns. Gonna return, I feel, just what I've been getting downloads in 2022. So the next year, guys, just try to stay in balance, remain patient,
Yeah.
and trust what's in your heart, the brain in your heart, not in your head, because you're going to see a lot of things that are programmed by the matrix. So don't buy in. That's all I say.
Yeah, I think it's, it's been what, we're in August now. It's been about 5 months since we've all had this like lockdown,
Yeah.
really hitting home for everybody. And God, even saying that out loud right now, 5 months, it just feels like so much longer. It feels like it's been so much longer that we've been stuck in this. But this this is a time that's definitely pulling on people in all sorts of different ways. Um, and the biggest thing, like you said, Erika, is to just really be patient, to like take the time to sit within. I see a lot of people posting, this same sentiment of like, when do you ever get this much time to be able to just relax and chill at home and take care of the things at home that you can do? Many people are working from home, and there are some that aren't, that might be more essential workers, especially here in the US, because it seems like a lot of other places are, a lot of other countries in the world are opening back up. But here in the US, it still seems like a
Yeah.
pretty solid lockdown. We might even be in for a whole other round of lockdowns again. So, um, I think exactly what Erika said, just sitting and being still and not being fed information from other people. Seriously, that cannot be discussed enough. It's like, it's almost imperative that you don't allow information to be fed to you. And it doesn't even matter if it just seems like a reliable source. It's just not. There's too much misinformation out there right now that if you cannot see it with your own eyes happening in front of you, you don't need to really pay attention right now. It's not going to be the full or real story. You can't even count on it if it's legit or not. So I think that's solid advice, Erika, for everybody right now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to jump into, and we are going to get to y'all's readings here in a few minutes. There's just, Erika and I have talked about this for a while, about her and I, we worked on like the psychic hotlines, and that's actually how we had became introduced to one another. And her and I found friendship through that, and we had spoke a lot about how there are quite a few, I guess for lack of a better word right now, fake psychics, people that are out there that aren't honest about what they do, or perhaps, they went to their local spiritual shop and picked up a tarot deck and called themselves, some master psychic or whatever. There are quite a few people out there like this, and I think what her and I have really resonated on is that integrity and proof and validation of doing this work are some really important things that I think that I think both of us feel should be shown. And so we want to discuss a little bit about that and what real psychic interaction and work looks like versus this, fake psychic reality. And then we're going to get to your questions here. So you can keep them flooding in the chats. If you've got a specific question, you can throw it up in there. And if nobody's saying anything, we're just going to pick people's energy at random to connect with. So y'all can just feel free to flood the chat with whatever question you have. Champagne, yes, thank you, love. We'll be connecting here with your energy, definitely. Val, we've got you. Alex D, if you're still here, we've got you. And we'll just connect as y'all flow in and type in there. So put your questions in. If you want like a detailed reading and not just, at least for me, picking up your energy and just telling you what I feel. If you want something a little bit more detailed, put your first name and your date of birth in there so I can connect with your energy. What that does for me is it allows a direct channel right into your energy specifically. Again, it deals with numbers, which numbers are sacred. And it just, one, I can call you by your first name, and it allows me to attach your energy to me so I can read you clearly. Otherwise, what's happening is, and what people don't realize is, if I'm connecting with you and I don't have that information, I'm connecting with everything that you are. I'm connected with everyone that's connecting with you, and it forces me to like have to, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a jungle gym sometimes, and I'm like sifting through all sorts of feelings and words and random, moments and items and things. So it allows me a direct channel. So if you want something a little bit deeper, just throw your first name in there and your date of birth. So this whole, let's see, psychic stigma, your Miss Cleos, your psychic friends, hotlines, or whatever it is. And the stigma that goes along with it of, you got to wear these crazy robes or something. And you work with tarot or, whatever it is. Granted, there are some great psychics out there that work with tarot. I think it's beautiful when they can make the it's beautiful when those cards like spell out exactly what's going on. It's such a cool impact to feel something tactile, tangible, like right in front of you spell out also exactly what you're probably either thinking or feeling, in connection with that client. It's always pretty cool. But it's not always necessary. You don't have to use tarot to be psychic or to read for somebody. I think, what are some other stigmas that people imagine about psychics? What do they just automatically assume? I think, what are some other stigmas that people imagine about psychics? What do they just automatically assume?
That we know everything and see it exactly how it's gonna play out. No.
Yeah. And the exact timing
for a lot of
to the second
exact
of the day.
Timing, all of that. And also that it's a guarantee. I will say you can tell a real one, and I say a real one in the sense of someone who's got integrity and genuine, because they will not promise you anything. Because for one thing, tomorrow's not guaranteed, future's not set in stone, and you really have to understand that the path that you're headed on is purely based on your choice. So if we're seeing something, it's basically based upon the energy where you're at now, the momentum of your past choices that have led you here. And then, we can present where you're likely to go based upon where the energy is seeing and reflecting. But you can also choose another path altogether, or if you make a choice that's completely different than the advice we've given, that can alter things. So I say personally, always steer clear of the psychic that makes you a promise or that says, oh yeah, I guarantee you this or that, or that it's 100% meant to be, because anything that happens is meant to be in that sense, because otherwise it would not have happened, because we are always creating the world around us through the law of attraction, through our emotions, through what we're thinking. So whatever happens, good or bad, whether it's because of the psychic reading or not, it's meant to be. So, you know, never go for the ones that promise you something, because those are the ones that don't have that integrity. Because if they're a real one, they know that it's up to you to create your
Yeah.
future. We don't create the future. You
That's
create it, you
huge.
know?
We do
Yeah.
not create your future. We do not create or have power over your life in the slightest. Not at all. I think a lot of people think this or confuse this. You know, I get people who come to me on the hotlines and they're like, "Oh, can you make this happen, please?" And I'm like, "Oh, I wish I could. I'm so sorry, but you know, that's not how this works. And even if I could, you know, I don't want to take that away from you and your experience. There are so many things in my life that I was able to learn because I was forced to do it. You know, I had to do it. I had to do the work, or
Yeah.
I had to make um, the vulnerability happen. I had to be a little bit out that added to, you know, who I already am, and it just like it's like a color enhancer, right? It's like a paint that just enhances a little bit more, a little bit brighter of a color. That's the best analogy I think I can really come up with right now. Why it's so
Yeah.
important, you know, to be able to have those experiences, even if they aren't seemingly positive. It's it's important for you to go through the things that you go through. And again, you you should not, as a client going to a psychic, you should not be willing to give up. A psychic should not be wanting to take that power. That's a magician or manipulator or somebody that you probably do not want to mess with. I understand.
Yeah.
Hang on, psychic should not be wanting to take that power. That's a magician or manipulator or somebody that you probably do not want to mess with. I understand.
Yeah.
Hang on one second. I know that the camera is doing something weird here, y'all. And I don't know why, because I'm using OBS and the screen is locked in, so I don't understand why it's getting small. So please bear with me. Like I said, I need somebody to run the tech for me. So hands up if you can do that. But I'll try and fix it here in a moment. I'm not sure why that's doing that. So um, that I think is the biggest one. Um, Not letting anybody take that power away from you, because this really is your life to make those choices. Um, what else are some stigmas here? The timing is definitely a big one. Time frame, that's
Yeah,
always a big one.
timing, time frames, things like that. Um, because if you know, time is a man-made concept. First, phrase it in a way that resonates with source, because I have to speak their language. So if you're like, oh, is Billy Bob gonna contact me soon? Well, what's soon? You know, because time doesn't translate the same way for us, and would not be soon to me. And so if I'm
Mm-hmm.
asking soon, you know, that can mean many things. And
Yeah.
time, you know, time frames, they can change based upon your choices and your momentum of where you're putting and focusing your energy. So like, let's say you get a reading and you're hopeful that you feel like, oh yeah, they're going to contact me, and then 10 minutes later you go down a spiral of anxiety, and then you're like, oh, what if it never happens? What if this? What if that? You just put a whole bunch of momentum out in the opposite direction that you want to go. And if you continue in that and putting in doubt and then continuing to ask the question to tons of psychics, you're delaying it further and further and further energetically, because you're
Yeah.
putting so much doubt out there. That's how
Well,
the law of attraction works.
and you're inviting all these other people's energy into what is trying to either be created or move forward, and their energy isn't always going to match what you're trying to do. So you're bringing in somebody's vibration who could be in a totally different space than you are, bringing it over
Mhm.
here, and then, you know, it's got to find a way to integrate, you know, whether it repels or if it flows together at some point. You're bringing in other people's energy into your life and into your movement. So I think that's so smart, Erika, is to like not just jump around to all these different people to find the answer that you want to get. The irony, I
Mm.
think the irony, and you can agree or disagree with me here, I feel like the irony right now is that you almost need to be psychic or intuitive to find the right person for psychic or intuitive advice and information. Because it's like you
Yeah.
have to kind of follow your gut with who you think you might interact with well.
There has to be a little bit of common sense involved, which I now
Yeah.
realize a lot of people lack, because for a lot of people, they are wanting to seek what they want to hear or validation. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not that reader. So if you are full of anxiety and if you hear anything at all that you don't want to hear, I'm not here to reassure you of your delusions. I'm here to tell you the truth of what I see so I can help you get to a better path of where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
So I'm not that reader that's going to be like, don't worry, just give it time. He
Mm-hmm.
loves you. You know what I mean? That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Oh, that's the
but
worst. That's the worst advice. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be
I'm
biased against
gonna help
anybody
you.
listening, but that is the worst thing to do. If you don't feel something happening as a psychic and then you just say, oh, everything will work out, just give it time. Ooh. Ooh, that is not your job. That is not your job. Yeah. You cannot say
Yeah.
that stuff to
Oh,
people.
someone brought up a good point about how not psychic shouldn't charge money or spiritual people
Oh,
shouldn't charge
yeah.
money. And that is the craziest thing I've heard but a lot of people think this, oh, if you're really spiritual, it shouldn't be about the money, but money is energy.
It
Money
is.
is energy. So if an energy exchange is involved, especially within the work that we do, where we're listening to your problems all day, as an empath, I literally feel your anxiety all day. So I'm having to deal with that energy, and then I'm having to translate, talk to source, and then get that back to you. That's the energy exchange. So
Yeah.
therefore money is an energy exchange,
Yep.
because that's how the world works now. We're not on a barter system like back in the day where somebody might have brought a chicken or something in exchange for medicine woman work.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's money. That's the energy exchange that we use. So guess what?
First really started to get involved in spiritual communities. And there were people who had specifically claimed to receive messages from God. And I'm like, and then I go and I look at their website, right? And it's,
Mm-hmm.
they're charging for these readings. And so at first I had the same issue. I was like, how can somebody claim to get these messages from God, but then charge for it? It seems like an oxymoron to me. I don't get it. And although I still kind of have a little bit of an issue with them professing to be God's mouthpiece, um, I I understand now why it happens. Working, now for, let's see, this was, I started, was back in 2008, so 12 years now, working, professionally as a psychic advisor and reader. I I understand now why this happens. I don't know if we'll assume that it's not any of you here, but I will say that, when people go to psychics for readings, and especially on the hotlines, most of them are there to use you. And that's okay because we put ourselves there to be able to be used in this way professionally. In the same way that you're going to go and um, the plumbing goes out in your house and you just know, okay, well, I need help fixing this because I can't do it on my own. Could you do it on your own? Probably. You could probably get the tools, you could probably read the books, watch the YouTube videos, and figure it out for yourself in the same way that you could figure out your own psychic information, because we all have that capacity to be psychic and that ability is in there, however strong or dormant or whatever. But there are people out here like myself, like Erika, who it's natural for us. Our energy is tuned to it. We've trained ourselves to be able to pick up information regularly. We know how our connections work. And we're at the point where we can do it for other people, not just ourselves. So I being in that psychic hotline realm, I mean, you get a lot of people who can be quite intense, um, sometimes obnoxious, and people who will literally just use you. There, there's no care, there's no thank yous, there's no tell me what this is, tell me, this and that. When's this gonna happen? Okay, when? Why? What's that? And it's not a shred of care for whom you're speaking with. And after receiving that kind of interaction like over and over again all day, it feels like a piece of yourself is just being ripped off of you, every interaction you get. So then I realized, okay, these people, those kind of people, they don't really care about us. So that's the energy exchange. They're
Yeah.
providing some energy in return. I'm giving them, all of myself pretty much. I'm giving them all of me in that moment. So I as I saw the interactions happen, I start to understand that, okay, it really is an energy exchange. I'm putting in all of this energy, and that's what, is being returned to me. And it's like you said, Erika, it's universally accepted right now to provide money in exchange for something, and all of this energy. And that's what, is being returned to me. And it's like you said, Erika, it's universally accepted right now to provide money in exchange for some kind of service, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I would also say too, one of the other things is, because you brought up something about how like there's no care for, a lot of the time they don't really care for us on the other end, which we're people too. um,
It's true.
it's important to also understand that we have different talents as psychics. So it's not one size fits all. And that's one of the other things that people don't really understand, where one person's specialty may be they work mediumship and they talk to others on the other side, and another person may not do that at all, but maybe they're medical intuitive and they can tell you what's going on in the body.
Right.
And then another person may be really, really good at only seeing the other person's perspective at present, but maybe they can't predict future. And then one person might predict future. So it's, what I'm saying is not one size fits all with psychics. So you have to really look into what are their special talents. The same way one person may be able to sing like Beyonce, and another person might be able to dance like Michael Jackson, but can't sing. That it works the same way with psychics. So you got to do your research and figure out, does this psychic, their special talent, do they really fit what I'm looking for right now? So
That's a beautiful point.
keeping that in mind is important too.
Yeah, it really is. I think for any business that's out there, you should do it for the sake of you love doing it, plain and simple. Whatever kind of work that is. And sometimes, that just out of passion, it happens for free. For example, here on the show, I love connecting with people. I know Erika likes connecting with others, and we like being here and providing some kind of space for us to be able to connect with you, without having to throw chunks of money, at a moment, because it's just pure enjoyment. But, we have to make sure we can't drain ourselves, our own energy when we're doing any kind of readings. It doesn't matter what kind or where. You can get drained from doing them anywhere. The only thing I will say is, for me, the inverse happens when I'm doing hypnotherapy. So when I'm working with a client and we are, really digging into some of the intense emotions or wounds or traumas, and I witness somebody in front of me going through that transformation and a healing, for whatever reason, it's the total opposite. It is extremely energizing for me. Like, I come out of that office and I'm like, woo, let's go. Let's do this. Let's take on another. Like, I am ready to go. Granted, I've never done more than 3 sessions in one day. So I wonder, what would happen if I did a lot more. But for right now, it's really a beautifully energizing thing when you see somebody taking on their own healing. I know that that's true even in psychic sessions. When I see someone and they're connecting those dots on their own, and I'm just like over here like, yep, you're 100% right. Yep. I'm like rooting, cheering them on their side, and it's so energizing to see them get it. You know what I mean? Like, to have that breakthrough.
Yeah.
It's such a good feeling.
Sometimes we're just the vessel, and like the vessel in between that helps them to work through what they need to work through. And sometimes that's all we are.
Yeah.
And that works too.
And that's all right. We've made ourselves available to be that,
Yeah.
That's what we've trained ourselves to do. But again, anybody can do it. Anybody can be psychic. more people, just like there are people that are better drawers of painters, but somebody else can also learn to be an artist and draw and paint. It's the same kind of sentiment, I think, with psychism, is that some people have that natural affinity and other people train themselves. Either way, biggest thing to look out for, all of you that are out there, that if you're working as a psychic or you're a client of psychics, validation, 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 validation. Make them validate that they are connected to you. If you're a psychic, validate your connection. Prove that you are what you are. Just show them. It takes 2 seconds to do it if you're really tuning into their energy. Like, it takes 2 seconds. Now, tarot and other things, I don't know about all that. I assume that it comes as you're doing cards and things. But if you're professing to be psychic, you've got to show that you're picking up on their energy in some way. Otherwise, why the hell would they believe you?
Yeah. Well, with the tarot, of course. So with a lot of people, this is another thing that people don't fully understand. So a lot of people think tarot readers are separate from psychics, but they're not. I mean, there are people that can, yes, you can learn the tarot and learn the general, meanings. But a true psychic that does work with tarot, and I'll explain why I do work with tarot and oracle, a true psychic will not use those meanings at all. they will they will go off of whatever the image and whatever you're asking or what they're feeling from you is being triggered, in the card. So I look at it as like, I use tarot and oracle because, much like you, I don't use date of birth, but I use the cards in place of that. So when I'm connecting to your energy and I'm shuffling, my intuition is ordering the cards through your energy of what you need to know. So it's like, let's say somebody was playing a game and said the word apple. Now tell me everything that comes to your mind right after I say apple, right? So it's like, okay, I pull a card. I'm looking at the card. That card triggers something. And then the rest is being channeled through source and connecting to your energy. And then I fill in the rest of the information. So the card just helps narrow it down for me to connect to you. Some people will scribble to connect to you. It's just a way of, the energy is so intense with all the information coming through that I need something that fine tunes it a little bit. And I choose cards for that. So a good psychic reader that is really truly connected and does choose your tarot or oracle, they're not going to use or go off of a guidebook, or I don't even read the guidebooks a lot of times. They're just going to go off of what flows to them in connection with you, with the cards and divination tools. Yeah.
Because they're a tool, right? They're not, they shouldn't be supplementing all of your words. They should be a tool to help pinpoint, like you said, an energy, something specific that you're looking into in somebody's energy. Again, otherwise you're getting a bombardment. It's just like, it's like jumping into a pool of water. You're not going to just sit in one spot that you want. Like, oh, I don't want to touch that water over there. No, well, guess what? It's all the water. It's all blended together, and you're going to be stuck in all of it. So it's a beautiful analogy. In the same way, that you get psychic impressions with somebody, you're jumping into their waters, and you got to sift your way through. And I think these tools like tarot or clairvoyance, they're like little boogie boards, or little floaties that you can float on, so you can take a moment to see, what you're looking for. Because that's the whole point of a psychic reading, is to communicate that information, to whomever is getting the reading. If you can't communicate it, then what are you even doing? It's like, great, then yes, you're a wonderful psychic experiencer, but maybe not an advisor if you can't communicate it. And that's the other half of the battle, is good communication with your people.
Yes.
Well, let's connect here with a few people. Let's do some readings, connect with some energy here. I just want to alert you, since y'all pointed out that my mic was not doing too hot, I had to unplug my power from my MacBook to plug in the microphone. So we're running on 18% here. So I'm going to try to get to it quick. I don't want to rush into anybody's reading or anything, but I also want to give everybody a chance so that we can connect with their energy before we all lose power. Otherwise, it's either I'm losing power and we're dealing with a staticky mic, or it's just going to go dark and it'll be gone. So we'll get there, but just be patient with me, everyone. Again, calling out all tech people. See what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Calling out all tech people who wants to come help. Okay, your camera should be good now. So let's see. Let me scroll up the chat here a little bit and see who had jumped in. All right, Miss Champagne. All right, let's connect with Miss Champagne first. Let's see, general advice dealing. Oh, okay. So Champagne is wondering and wants to ask you, Erika, about shadow work. Any
Uh-huh.
tips or anything that you have about working with it, and what you would advise, what you would
Ooh.
do.
Yes, and I've definitely actually been doing this myself. So I'm gonna pull a card for you first for your energy, and then I'll just go off of that too.
Cool. All right, I'll let you connect here. I'm also going to connect with Champagne, see what else I pick up from her.
Okay. So what I'm getting, so I have King of Swords energy for you. And so what I'm getting for you is, and it's going to be really important that you have to really get honest with yourself, because a lot of the times when you're doing shadow work, it's something that's been suppressed, or something that you don't want to remember a lot of the time, or don't want to acknowledge a lot of the time. So King of Swords energy is about keeping it real with yourself. And so maybe it may be time to sit down and try and hypnotherapy may help you with this by working with Brandon or something. To think back to your triggers. Like if you think whatever you're feeling right now, try to think as far back as you can possibly to the first time you experienced that feeling. Like, okay, let's say I'm feeling heartache right now. Something is making me feel very sad or heartbroken. I try to think back as far as I can to the first time I experienced that. And it's because whatchamacallit in third grade wanted to date or thought that Ashley was prettier than me. And so that takes me to a place of where I first felt self-esteem issues, for example, through comparison. So that's just an example. So whatever you're feeling that is making of the shadow work you're going through, try to first go back to the very first memory that you can remember of that particular feeling and energy, heal that, and then work your way up to most present times so that you can clear out that energy. And that's all about keeping it real with yourself and being honest and cutting through the BS, like with this sword right here. Cut through.
That's beautifully said, and you're 100% spot on. That's something that we do in hypnotherapy is we do regressions, right? Often when I am working with somebody who has a fear or maybe some kind of disorder, or even like a tick, nervous tick or something, or severe anxious feelings or nervous feelings, they're often associated with some memory from the past that never got to grow up. It's like that part of the self got stuck back there and it never
Yeah.
grew up fully. And so it's still back there, and you're still dealing with those behaviors today from that being that you were, back then at that time. So that's beautifully beautiful advice there. And a great way to work with it. Yeah, hypnotherapy, we do exactly that. We guide people into those spaces. And sometimes it can happen, without being in that subconscious state. Like you were saying, Erika, if you are able to help somebody identify those emotions or those traumas, and then you can work with them. And I think that's more of like what traditional therapy even is today. But Champagne, when I'm connected with your energy, I definitely do feel this sort of drain. And what Spirit keeps showing me is that there's a question of faith. It's like you're going through a moment where I feel you either questioning or restructuring your own belief system, because I feel that right now what you've been able to rely on has not shown you reliability, and Spirit keeps showing me that there's instability in your sense of grounding. So I feel like personal security is probably out the window right now, and you're probably working on trying to find something that you can really ground, dig your heels into, and to rest on right now. I do feel that you're going to find it. I feel like there's a part of your experience right now where you have to lose yourself, like you have to lose this part of yourself so that when you rediscover yourself, it's 10 times more solid when you move forward. So I do feel like, let me just connect and see if there's anything specific that kind of comes up as far as what you should do or what you should focus on. Just so that way, you know, you might have something to go on. Like Erika said, I do feel like hypnotherapy would be beneficial. I even have a track, Champagne, if you wanted to listen to that I've been able to give to a lot of people, and that others have bought, which is amazing. I'm super grateful for that because I put in a lot of work into this thing and it really helps even me. But when I'm connecting with your energy, Champagne, I just keep feeling to not fear death. I know that sounds scary and it's not as dramatic as it sounds. I just understand. It's like, do not be afraid of those parts of yourself that need to die off. And also, don't be afraid if they like find their way recycling in some way and come out in a different form or a different expression of energy. I feel like that's going to be the key for you right now, Champagne, is like literally going through this phoenix-like metamorphosis where you allow the fire to burn off all the old and the, you know, not work, whatever's not working or serving you anymore, and literally allow yourself to build yourself from these ashes, because it just really, I love this analogy because it still keeps all of your core parts of yourself all together in one. It's just coming out in a new way, a new refinement, if you will. So kind of keep that in mind. I think, honestly, this is going to be a really important time for you to go through this rebirthing, because when I'm connected with your energy, what Spirit keeps showing me is this vision of you, and it's towards the end of the year. And there's something about you. I just keep seeing you like walking in, and it almost seems like you're walking into some family home or something. It feels around the holidays, and there's just like this air of confidence about you. And I feel you just, what Spirit shows me is you're passing out abundance to people. And I don't know if you're giving gifts or maybe some gift cards, you know, for some place, a bunch of people. I don't know what it is, but I just see you passing out abundance. And it's because of the energy that you have in yourself and how abundant and confident and grounded you feel in your own self. You want to extend this out to other people. You really are a champion for other people, meaning I feel you advocating other people very well, and supporting them and giving them energy. And you would feel like turning that onto yourself is going to be really important right now. Okay, sorry, I know that went on for a while. I couldn't help but to get the information out. You know how it is. Sometimes when you just connect to something, you just gotta go. You just gotta go with it. All right,
well, she has more energy to give out, more to give out, because she's taking her power back and she's not letting other people control, you know, or dictate her mood throughout the day, because she's been cutting out these karmic cycles. So,
oh, thank goodness.
That has to do with it.
All right, let's hop into the next one here. I'm at 5%, y'all. I'm at 5%. All right, let's hop into the next one here. I'm at 5%, y'all. I'm at 5% battery. Oh my gosh.
God.
I know, it's going so quick. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do actually? I'm gonna unplug my mic real quick. And Erika, I'm gonna let you connect with, let's see, who are we connecting with next? I think Val is next. I think we'll do Val, and then we'll do Alex. Is Austin still here? I thought I saw an Austin in here. There's Austin. Hi, Austin. Hi, Matt. I see you. We'll do Val, Alex, Austin if they're still here, and then did I forget one? Val, Alex, and then Austin. Okay. Oh, hi, Marissa.
So Val, whatever comes through for Val. Truth be told.
I'm gonna unplug my mic real quick, y'all, so I can plug in my battery and keep things going. So just give me a moment. If it sounds crazy, also you can yell at me. You have full permission.
Okay, Val. So I'm getting Seven of Wands energy, Seven of Staffs. So even though things may feel like you almost have to keep being in this defensive mode, or this energy of needing to prove yourself, prove your worthiness, prove you're ready, prove you can do it. They're also speaking on this need to set boundaries with people and not to give up on, what you really truly feel you deserve, your standards, because you're on the right path. They're also represented by the number seven. So even though you may not understand why certain things are happening, how they are happening, um, you are on the right path, because there's still lessons along the way, which is why you're getting this energy of don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. And Spirit is encouraging you not to give up. But it's a really, really a need to be more assertive in many ways of what's important to you. Another card, which is another seven, is a Seven of Cups coming through for you. So this is letting you know that you actually have more options than you're realizing. You have more options than you're giving yourself credit for. Yes, you need to choose wisely where you're putting your energy, your effort, and your emotions, but you're not stuck where you are. So don't fall into that illusion. And you're not stuck in a situation unless you continue to choose that attachment, because the universe is trying to present you with different pathways and opportunities moving forward that are leading you on the right path. So continue to learn from the past, who you are now, and use that to choose wisely moving forward. And then finally, I'm also seeing Knight of Swords. So once you have done all of your research, I'll call it, then you move forward on the new belief system that you share, the new inspiration that you have, and the pathway that you can go, that is putting yourself first. So that's what I see coming through overall for you of advice that Spirit is speaking on at this time.
There we go. Can we hear me now? Yay. You got my sound, Erika?
Are we still on? I don't know what just happened.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's sounding a little like a robot again.
No, don't say that.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It could be just your sounds. Oh, yeah. Okay, you should be able to hear me better now. I think they can hear me fine. I just had to switch my mics back and forth. You got me? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yay! Okay, thank you. Sorry. All right, so Val, when I'm connected here with your energy, I do feel, I don't know why, but I feel you being drained right now. It feels like you're drained. Spirit keeps showing me a draining of security. And so in a lot of ways, like rooted right now as well for yourself, it feels, I don't know if there are outside influences, because it feels like when I'm connected with your energy, I feel quite annoyed with other people coming at me and trying to pull all these things away from me, put other responsibilities on me. It feels like, you are definitely being tried and tested right now. The one thing that Spirit keeps showing over and over again is that you have to disconnect from the things that don't provide you definites or definitions. I don't know why that feels so incredibly important, but it makes me feel that because of the feeling of not being fully grounded in your own self, you may be easily swayed by other people, their influences, or their energy on you. And so if something, I feel like this is the best piece of advice for right now for you. If something isn't definite, if it's not solid, if you can't rest your feet on it, your head on it, it's not for you right now. You need solid things in your life that are going to be able to give you concrete evidence, truth, validation. Again, the best analogy is like putting your feet on land versus the water right now. I think also, as I say that, Spirit keeps showing me that there's like a purging of unconscious emotions happening that like you probably don't even, maybe you're not even fully aware of, but they keep showing me that's happening in the unconscious. And I feel like something is going on in your dreams. I don't know. You need to write your dreams now. Like for the next month or so, you need to be writing down your dreams, because there's like something going on where there's this like purging happening. and there's like really important pieces of information that Spirit keeps showing me you're getting in the subconscious, and the best way for that access is the dreams. So right now, Val, things that are solid need to be your guiding light. That seems so important. Cut out the unstable, whether it's people, whether it's situations, whether it's projects or moments. You have to allow definite things into your life right now, just right now. I think, in a few months you could probably experiment around, but right now you just need solidity. You need that grounding. All right, so let's hop to the next one. I'm gonna unplug my mic again and plug it back in because I'm at 3%. Let's go to we got Val. Let's go to Alex next. Alexander, 816. Oh, happy early birthday, Alex. All right, and I will let you connect first. Alex, did you have a specific question, or?
If not, that's okay.
I don't think so. We'll just put his name. Oh yeah, they just put their name there. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, Alex. Page of Wands energy, Page of Staffs in this case. So this is the energy of you. Have a little bit more patience with yourself right now with what you're learning and what you're going through, because you are trying to look too far ahead in many ways, and you're also getting stuck in old vibrations a bit too much. And what Spirit is talking about is needing for you to be more in present, more living in the now, because that, if you are in the now and connecting to the person as you are right now, not who you used to be, and not necessarily who you're trying to be or projecting to, but who are you now? And maybe even do a practice such as channeled writing. And so what I mean by that is start thinking of what you're feeling and going through, or maybe even a goal, and just keep letting whatever flows through you jump from start to finish. And Spirit is saying you're still at the start right now, and needing to be okay with being at the start right now, so that you can take things one step at a time, one day at a time, because you're still in these beginning stages. But change is coming. You just got to take it one step at a time. And I'm also seeing Three of Pentacles energy for you. So this is the energy of, you have a team around you. You have or there will be a team coming, either team partners or opportunities coming for you there that are going to really help you to feel more supported in the goals and the progression you're trying to make for yourself. So whether that's people within this reality, in this world, that are helping you, or whether that is your team in the spiritual world, your team is around you, and you are about to begin to see certain things come to fruition. But like I said, stop trying to jump all the way to the finish line. Try to be present, because the present is what is going to create your future. And that's what's really coming through right now for you. Oh, he said it was, I just now saw next steps in career relationships. Okay, so that applies to all. Okay, so since you did bring up, I see now relationships and career, so maybe something you also want to do is write out, okay, so what kind of relationship are you trying to manifest? Do you even know what kind of a partner is a match for you? Because get really clear about that. And it may take some time writing out your ideal partner on paper. And that's going to help you get in touch with yourself, what your needs are for both partnership and career. And that's going to help manifest it for you, because words are spells and your wand is a pen, especially if you use it to write it out. So that's what I see. You're welcome.
All right, y'all, can you hear me? Oh my sound is probably,
You're a robot again.
my sound is probably insane. I'm so sorry. Let's do, all right, Erika, you hear me okay?
Now it's better, yeah.
Okay, let me, y'all just
You're welcome, Alex.
hold tight with me, okay? Okay, so Alex, Erika, that I have to tell you, that was so that was such good advice, because I'm picking up so much of the same energy of needing to put, when I connect with Alex, I'm feeling this need to put feeling or emotion or some kind of internal expression out into physical reality. And I think writing would be such a beautiful way for Alex to integrate that energy, because what I keep feeling happening is this need for emotions that are intangible, right, to become tangible, to be something that can be felt, touched, seen. Oftentimes we associate that sensation with relationships and love. For example, we feel something in us that we want to love somebody else, and then that love is just kind of being put out there, and then boom, you meet somebody who ends up being a partner in a relationship, and they are representative of the love that you feel internally, and you get to feel and touch and sense that person, and it's tactile and sensual, but yet also energetic as well. So this is kind of what I'm feeling with you, Alex, is there's a need for this internal expression to come out. I think writing is a beautiful idea. What I also keep sensing is that there is some kind of, it feels like it's, when I'm connected with you, it feels like there's something that's like waiting. It's like right behind you. There's don't worry, there's nobody behind. I don't see anything. It's not like some ghost or something crazy. What I'm saying is that it feels like there's some kind of opportunity that's waiting for you. Really, I think it might just be ego to kind of get out of the way so the opportunity can come through. And it feels like it's been waiting there for a while. I'm not sure if you've been waiting for something specifically to happen, but it just feels like as soon as this like part of the self gets out of the way, something comes through. Are you, perhaps, Alex, maybe you have been fighting with your intuition. Maybe that's the issue here. Because I'm feeling a certain block, and it almost feels like somebody else's voice, maybe somebody that you grew up around or looked up to. I'm hearing somebody else's voice telling you to not listen to certain parts of the self, or not to express certain things because of how it may make you look or seem. I feel like that's the voice that kind of has to get out of the way, because I do feel you have quite a connection with the intuition. Like I feel that they come in striking bursts, like almost like a lightning strike. I bet you have a really prominent either Aquarian or Uranus placement in your natal chart. Because I can feel that striking energy that comes down. There are bursts and moments of insight that do, I feel, want to come through, and perhaps this is why the expression needs to come out. So let's see, I can't see what everybody else has said here. What's that?
He's agreeing.
What's that?
He's agreeing with you. He's saying.
Oh, okay, yeah, good. I mean, I know what I'm feeling, so, but I'm glad that you're able to see that and validate that. Let me see if there's any other last piece here, Alex. Let's see what kind of comes out. Okay, so so Spirit keeps showing me that of things just kind of being in a difficult place, like they're in that transition. It reminds me of like the Tower card in tarot, where things just kind of crumble, we're losing our structure. And maybe Alex, maybe you also have been going through a moment of maybe losing a part of the self or part of the identity. But I do feel like whatever breakdown that you kind of feel that you're currently in, just like Val as well, and Champagne actually, I think just like both of them, see, like energy flocks together, it just happens. Just like them as well, there is this need to, allow the BS, allow the stuff that's not working, allow it to crumble, allow it to just fall apart, so that you can rebuild it in your own image of your own creation. And I think the message that Erika and I were speaking about in the very beginning of the show of not letting other people create your reality, I feel like that would ring especially true for everybody that we've connected with right now in this show, is that it's super important to allow yourself to build a skeleton, to build your own core principles and parts. So that way, when inevitably that person or idea or concept disappears, because everything disappears, while we're on earth, nothing is forever here, you have all those core things within yourself to be able to rely on. So I feel like that's super important to be able to adopt for yourself right now. So Alex, super important to be able to adopt for yourself right now. So Alex, open up that intuition, open it up, sink into it. I think it's going to be, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with yourself, honestly. I think a lot of cool stuff will come through, and the expression that you've needed, I think it'll come through as well. All right, so let's see, what was our last one? We got Alex, and I said one more, didn't I? Oh, Austin, but I don't see Austin here anymore. Val, Champagne, Alex. Okay, Austin, ADM, if you're still in here, just give us a shout out in the chat. AP, we love being able to connect and teach things. Hi, Positive Tales, welcome. All right, well, since I don't see Austin, would you like to just connect with Positive Tales, and then that'll be our last one? Okay.
What's your name, your first name? Can you type your first name, please?
Alex, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, mate. Thank you for coming in. Happy to connect with you. Positive Tales, that's cute.
Positive Tales. Could you type your first name?
First name and date of birth for me as well. I know my sound is crazy, y'all. I apologize. You know why.
Thank you. Okay, so home country or abroad? Okay, so what I'm actually saying is you can actually make either one work. What I'm seeing, I see the comparison of home country versus abroad. So I'm going to start with home country. So if you stay in the home country, I do see the Two of Wands energy. And so there's always still going to be this light energy of you wondering what if you do choose to stay, because there is part of you that is still wanting to explore new pathways, new opportunity. And I do also see the Two of Pentacles energy, where there's going to be this energy of still like a juggling of something for a time if you choose to stay in your home country. So I don't know if that's a juggling of time schedule, or a juggling of different opportunity, or juggling work life versus personal life balance. But I do feel this energy of juggling. And I do feel that you also have support around you, shown here in the Three of Pentacles energy, as well as the Nine of Pentacles, which is showing you can make money at home, or maybe even save more money. But there's still always going to be a bit of this lingering what if energy. But you can make it successful if you choose to stay where you are. If you go abroad, I do see you going through a period of missing the familiar energy with the Three of Swords, but the World card is coming up, which is actually showing change could actually be a good refreshing energy for you to gain a whole bunch of new perspective on yourself and who you are. And so even though there's going to be a distance from you in the familiar, I do feel that change could be good, because I see your creativity being sparked further if you do choose to go abroad with the Knight of Wands energy. Four of Pentacles energy is showing me it may take you a little bit more time to recover from the move, for example, and save up money again, but you can definitely get going. So what I'm saying is you can make either one work. It's just that I do feel there is a part of you that does need the freshness of new environment altogether to further spark your creativity for your next steps. Because I don't necessarily feel like the job opportunities that of either of these are your end all be all. I feel like there's still going to be, they're either way, it's a stepping stone. And I feel like the new environment may help you get further to your next step a bit quicker, possibly because of the inspiration that can come flow through. But um, either way is looking good. Either way could be successful. So it's gonna have to come through you being honest with yourself of how ready are you for that next step, or do you just want to stay in your comfort zone?
Perfect. Thank you, Erika. Sorry, y'all. I know that
You're welcome.
the camera's going crazy. Listen, we're well aware. And don't worry, it's not white noise. It's just my turbojet engine air conditioner that I'm right next to. So, we're dealing with a whole mess of stuff. I know, y'all. I know. Just work with me. All right, so Prachi, so when I connect here with your energy, and I'm looking at home country versus living abroad, settling abroad, I'm feeling two main energies that kind of are associated, one on each here. Can you hear me okay? I know that the mic isn't perfect. Let's see if I can just... I want you to be able to hear me, so I don't have much battery power left, and we're going to have to end the show right after this. So let me see if I can connect this here. One moment. One moment, please. All right, y'all. You should be able to hear me. All right, Prachi. So, first energy I'm feeling when
Robot-y.
No.
Sounds like a robot.
So yours will sound a little bit different, Erika, because our voice is coming from a different place. Yours and mine. But I want you to be able to hear me too. Look at how small your little camera got. What happens? Listen, if y'all know OBS software, let me know, because this is ridiculous. I have to change this every 2 seconds. Okay. Let me get through this, Prachi. So first, the energy of you being in your home country. Right away, I feel that there's some feeling of listlessness, something about being confused or unsure about relationships there, or relationships in general. I don't know if there's some kind of pressure to be in a relationship or find one in your home country, but it feels like that's the main energy there. And when I'm connecting with you being there for long periods of time, what Spirit keeps showing me is that it kind of quiets your own spirit, and it kind of forces you to become more secluded, more internal. And it feels like what's happening is these pressures are building on top of you, and it's forcing you to just, I think, adopt a different lifestyle, a different way of living, and one that I feel like you may not have foreseen yourself being or being involved in. But I will say that it does seem like there's some, Spirit keeps showing me just energy of relationship being there. But in my personal opinion, I would not allow that to be the guiding light there. So I don't know if staying at home would be because of you defining something about some kind of relationship with somebody, or relationships in general. But let me go to the inverse here of you living abroad. When I connect with this, Spirit shows me that it'll be uncomfortable at first, that it would be an awkward thing, and that just kind of like everybody else that we've already connected with during the show, that there would be a feeling of things kind of breaking down. But this actually feels really good, because you are just like, this is the same energy. I love when this happens. And people are just, they flock together. Like energy attracts like energy. It happens all the time. I feel this whole new structure of self coming out. And what Spirit keeps showing me is that you've been dreaming all of these specific visions for yourself and your life, and you've had these ideas. I don't know, maybe you have some kind of vision board or like a list written out somewhere. But Spirit keeps showing me that you have specific goals and visions that you regularly visit in your mind, and they keep showing me that all of these things come to fruition once you get past the awkwardness of being abroad, and this uncomfortableness of feeling like you may have lost yourself. There is this inherent energy of being grounded and secure in this new life, this new way of living. And it literally allows all these things that you've been trying to manifest or bring into your life come to fruition. And it's all because of you putting in this good work. You made yourself vulnerable, you did something outside of your comfort zone, and you allowed yourself to be secure in yourself, not with any of the material things that you felt like you needed or ideas that somebody else is trying to put into your brain, which I do feel is happening, by the way. It's all of your own nature, your own sense of integrity. And that's what feels like it's going to be flourishing if you were to live abroad. So in my personal opinion, it feels like the energy of living abroad might suit you better in the long term. But I think the energy of staying at home, it would provide a different experience. I'm not going to say which one is better or worse because that's not my determining factors. You know, I'm not living your life. You value things differently than I do, so I can't make that decision. But what I can tell you is that it would be different. It does feel quieter. You're much more patient, but there do seem to be some more pressures on the self if you were to stay at the home country, home environment. So it's all about what you want to experience. You know, the choice is always yours. That's totally up to you. But I do feel that traveling abroad would be all around more rewarding. All right. Well, thank you all for being patient here with me. I think, you know, I would love to do more shows regularly. Erika, if you would like to, you are more than welcome to come back. I think they had all sorts of questions for you, and they were looking for your guidance with stuff, and I love that. So whenever you feel like you would want to, you are definitely welcome back here. So if people want to know, you know, where can they get in touch with you? Where can they find you? Aside from the description below your
Okay,
video.
so you can find me on Instagram, Psychic Goddess Erika, which is up there on the description. Also, my YouTube. If you want to kind of see my style, I have a lot of free pick a card readings up there that also helps you to connect to your intuition by allowing you to trust yourself to be drawn to a certain card or pile. And then you can kind of test out my reading style through that. And on my YouTube, you'll also find my email, which is in the descriptions, PsychicGoddessErika@gmail.com. You can also find me as well on the Purple Ocean app. If you want a quick access kind of thing, I'm on there too. So Instagram, YouTube, email, Purple Ocean.
Woo-wee. All over. Perfect.
All
well,
over.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Erika. It's a lot of fun to connect with you, and thank you for connecting with the audience here. So Psychic Goddess Erika, pretty much everywhere. Y'all can search for that. It's like literally everywhere. There's like people that like start forums talking about her and her readings. And it's a crazy thing.
It's weird, but yeah.
I know. I found mine too, where people are just like, "Oh, Dream Teacher," you know, saying whatever. I'm like, "Hello, friends." Y'all know this is the internet, right? No, I'm just kidding. I love all of you, even if you hated me or you know, didn't like working with me. I still love you. But that very rarely happens. It's very, very rare. Y'all know where you can find me here on my channel, TheDreamTeacher.com. Please, if you, all of you, since you are all listening and the same energy came up of restructuring the self, please download my hypnotherapy track. I work my butt off on this thing. And it was literally like channeled into me to help people to overcome all these anxious feelings, fears, to restructure the self. You know, I just had a friend who's been listening to it after our hypnotherapy session that we had, which, mind you, was like 2.5 hours. It was very extensive and very deep. He's been listening to it like every day, and he cannot believe how much it's been able to help, how he feels like it's just, very professional, very well done. So please, if y'all are going through this sort of rebuilding and restructuring, please listen to this hypnotherapy track. You can find that on my website. It's under the downloads tab, TheDreamTeacher.com. You can book readings on the appointment page. You can do so there. But I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate you working with me through the technical difficulties, which hopefully will get figured out soon enough. Again, I'm going to throw it out there again. I'm looking for a tech person. Please come find me. Let it be divine. Let it be beautifully timed, because I would love to work with you. Again, I'm trying to build a team here. I've got a lot of goals and a lot of projects that I'm working on where things finally are in perfect step. So I'm going to need to work with a lot of people. So I'm putting that out there for those of you that do want to come work with me. Erika, thank you again. Thank you for being here, love. It was wonderful as always to connect with you. And all of you, thank you for all your questions. Prachi, you're absolutely welcome for the reading. Glad that we could help in some way. All right. Be sure to subscribe so that way you know when the next show is coming up. Subscribe here on YouTube and press the alerts so that you know when I schedule a show. Sometimes I do them at random. Sometimes I decide to do a show and get on live, 2 minutes later. So that way you'll be alerted the next time. All right. Thank you all for being here. Talk with you all soon. Take care.
Bye.